Merry Christmas. This is the last video I will do this side of Christmas, and I just want to take this opportunity to say a really heartfelt thank you very much to all those people who have just sort of jumped on board with the YouTube channel. It means a lot. It's really important. I want to make this thing work, and you guys are obviously, the most important part of that. So thank you so much. I was wondering what to say in this little video. I couldn't really think of anything, so I'm going to read from the conclusion to my the Nativity, a critical examination. Wonderful book, please go and buy it, and all that. In order for the Christian who believes that both accounts are factually true to uphold that faithful decree, the following steps must take place. The believer must special plead that the virgin birth motif is actually true for Christianity but is false for all other religions and myths that claim similarly. Deny that virgin is a mistranslation. Give a plausible explanation of from whence the male genome of Jesus came and how this allowed him to be fully man. Be able to render the two genealogies fully coherent without the explanation being contrived or ad hoc. Believe that the genealogies are bona fide and not just tools to try to prove Jesus' Davidic and messianic prophecy fulfilling heritage. Be able to explain the inconsistency of the two accounts in contradicting each other as to where Jesus' family lived before the birth without the explanation being contrived or ad hoc. Somehow be able to contrive an explanation whereby Herod and Quirinius could be alive concurrently despite all the evidence contrary to this point. Believe that a client kingdom under Herod could and would order a census under Roman diktat. This would be the only time in history that this would have happened. Find it plausible that people would return and find precedent for other occurrences of people returning to their ancestral homes for a census at an arbitrary number of generations before, 41. Give a probable explanation as to how a Galilean man was needed at a census in another judicial area. Give a plausible reason as to why Mary was required at the census by the censors or by Joseph. Give a plausible explanation as to why Mary would make the 80-mile journey on donkey or on foot whilst heavily pregnant, and why Joseph would be happy to let her do that. Believe that Joseph could afford to take anywhere from a month to 2 years off work. Believe that, despite archaeological evidence, Nazareth existed as a proper settlement at the time of Jesus' birth. Believe that the prophecies referred to Nazareth and not something else. Believe that the Magi were not simply a theological tool derived from the book of Daniel. Believe that Herod and his scribes and priests was not acting entirely out of character and implausibly in not knowing the prophecies predicting Jesus and not accompanying the Magi 3 hours down the road. Believe that the Magi weren't also merely a mechanism to supply Herod with an opportunity to get involved in the story and thus fulfill even more prophecies. Believe that the Magi were also not a reinterpretation of the Balaam narrative from the Old Testament, despite there being clear evidence to the contrary. Believe that a star could lead some Magi from the east to Jerusalem and then to Bethlehem, where it rested over an individual house and not be noted by anyone else in the world. Believe that the shepherds were not merely midrashic and theological tools used by Luke. Believe that there is, and provide it, a reasonable explanation as to why each gospel provides different first witnesses, shepherds and magi, without any mention of the other witnesses. Believe that despite an absence of evidence and the realization that it is clearly a remodeling of an Old Testament narrative, the massacre of the innocents actually happened. Believe that Herod would care enough about his long rule after his death to chase after a baby and murder many other innocent babies, a notion that runs contrary to evidence. Believe that God would allow other innocent babies to die as a result of the birth of Jesus. Believe that the flight to and from Egypt was not just a remodeling of the Old Testament narrative in order to give Jesus theological gravitas. Give a plausible explanation as to why the two accounts contradict each other so obviously and as to where Jesus and family went after his birth. Explain the disappearance of the shepherds and the Magi who had seen the most incredible sights of their lives and why they were never heard from again despite being the perfect spokespeople for this newfound religion. Provide a plausible explanation as to why Jesus' own family did not think he was the Messiah given the events of the Nativity accounts. Once a believer in the accuracy of these accounts can do all of the above in a plausible and probable manner, then they can rationally hold that belief. I would contest that it is rationally possible to ever hold such a belief. Basically, in case you didn't realise this is where I was going with this, it didn't happen like the Gospel said it did. And if it didn't happen like the Gospel said it did, what else does that say about the rest of what the Gospels say? Anyway, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for all of your support. All the links to everything down below, books, blog, PayPal, merchandise, all that stuff. Please support as much as you can. I don't like doing that kind of pleading, but there you go. And subscribe, like, hit the bell, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. And remember, question everything. What did my laptop have to ping at that time? As ever, question everything, especially yourselves.